Hey guys, in this tutorial, we're gonna look at how to make something change color. So I've made a tree here and I'm gonna have like a leaf fall off and I'm gonna have that leaf change color as it falls off. So you can see the way I've set this up is I have the tree on one layer and then I have each leaf on its own layer. They're very simple designs. I use lines that I curved and then connected together. Okay, and then I just filled it with a color. So depending on how complex your design is, this may not work that great. You may have to try to recreate the design. Okay, so what we would be using is shape tweens. So I'm going to first set the end frame. So let's say I'm gonna end this at frame 30. So I'm gonna highlight all those frames. I'm gonna hit F5. But then for all the leaves, I'm gonna hit F6. So the tree, I'm just gonna hit F5. The leaves, I'm gonna hit F6. All right, so nothing's happened. But what I wanna do is I wanna select in between the 3 leaf layers and I wanna create shape tweens between each of those. And now what I'm gonna do on the last frames is I'm gonna double click on the leaf that I'm moving. I'll move it to the bottom here. And then what I'll do is I'll change the color. So let's say, for instance, I want to turn that to pink. All right, then I'll click on the next one. I'll move it to the bottom. And then maybe that one's going to be kind of more of a reddish color. And then I'll click this one and I'll move it further down. And maybe this one's going to be more of like a yellowy color. All right, so now, as we watch these fall, you can see they do gradually change. It may be difficult to see, so let's look at this one first. So you can see it's gradually changing from that orange into that pink. Okay, if we look at this one here, you can see where it starts to get darker as it falls. And if we're looking at the one over on the right here, we can see that it's starting to turn yellow. Now, we can't move the motion as much as we normally do. So if I want, let's say for this leaf to turn, I am going to need to turn the leaf in order to actually have it move. So we're not going to get a motion path because this is a shape tween. But what you can do is you can select it and you can use the free transform tool to rotate it. Be careful, make sure the outline is selected. That's what just happened with mine. Double click. Still don't even think that got it all the way selected. There we go. And then rotate it. Still didn't get it selected. Look at that. Let's try one more time. There we go. Rotate it. There we go. And now you can see how those 2 leaves are rotating as they fall. All right, so in order for this to work, again, the design of the drawing has to be smooth. You know, use lines to create shapes and then fill those shapes. Don't try to draw everything by hand. But that is how you can make something change color as it moves. Now, that's one way to do it. The other way to do it would be the way that we learned in class. So let's highlight those. Let's remove the tweens. I'm going to come to the end here and I'm going to remove these frames. But what I'd have to do here is I'd have to hit F8 and I would have to make each of these a symbol. Now, for simple purposes, I'm just making them symbols and not really caring what they are. All right, now what I do is I select all of these and I can insert a motion tween. I can come to the end here and I can move all these down. Notice how they have paths, so I could curve the path. I could double click and I could go in and do a medium, ease in and ease out. So it's kind of a curvy line, a S line going back and forth. Okay, so now we kind of have maybe a better movement of falling of leaves. And then what I would do at the end here, I would click on the leaf and in the properties panel, come to color effect and tint. And that's where I can actually change the tint. But notice it's really changing all of the actual leaf. So let's try going to advanced, and this is interesting. So if you change this, you're actually changing the red, blues, and the greens. But again, it does look like it's changing all of the leaves. So let's undo that. Okay, and so the last option would maybe be doing something like alpha, but alpha is actually transparency. So even though we have some of these options in here, the reason I didn't use it in the beginning is just because of how it changes the color. But those options are still there. You could do a brightness where you lower or increase the brightness as well. All right, so that is having something change colors as it moves.